Okay, so our content goal for this lesson today is I can read closely to determine what the text explicitly states and to draw conclusions or make inferences. Your language goal, I can mark up a text with words, my thoughts, predictions, and questions. And your social goal, I want you to be able to discuss it with a family member, but I also want you to be able to post a reply about how marking up a text helps a reader. Okay, so let's get started. So I have the beginning part of a text called Spring is Coming on the board. So I'm going to walk you through really quickly how you can go about marking up a text. First, I'm going to take and determine what some text features are that might help me when I'm ready to mark up a text. So I'm going to look at the title because that is one of our text features. So our title said Spring is Coming. So I can make a prediction. I predict it is about spring. And I know this because there's that word right there. So spring is coming. So I thought, man, it's been nice out lately, and the last few days it's been really cold. Well, that is spring. So I know spring is here, but in this story, spring is coming. So I can kind of make some inferences about what kinds of things, or predictions about what kinds of things they're going to be experiencing. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to go through. I don't have a regular text, so there's not much else I need to look at for text features. So I'm going to look right here and read my first sentence. It was early spring, and the settler family had a hard time all winter. Ooh. So first, I'm going to pick out some key words that might help me to determine setting, where it's located, who is involved, and maybe some key ideas that might be popping out of this already for me. So let me model my thinking. So when I read it was early spring, okay, I know in my head where I am today, early spring is probably end of March, early April, okay? So I'm kind of thinking it's probably mid-March to early April, okay? And the settler, I'm circling this word because settler does not sound like a familiar term today. So it sounds like this story has had to have happened a while ago, okay? So I know that the word settler is a clue that this is not meaning today, that we're not talking about early spring at the mall, okay? It was early spring and the settler family had a hard time all winter. They had a difficult time. They had a hard time all winter. So I'm kind of wondering here, here's another way I can mark up my text is by asking a question. Why was their winter hard? I might be able to make some predictions about this as well. And maybe that's based on my experiences or some ideas that I've seen or read in books, okay? And so one prediction might be maybe they didn't have enough food because settlers oftentimes found themselves in situations where it was cold and they had just moved to an area, just newly settled there, so they didn't have a whole lot of food or resources to be able to help them survive. Okay, so let's keep reading. They had brought food with them, but it was mostly gone. So they brought food with them, so this means that they traveled to wherever they settled. I don't know where they traveled from, and I don't know where they're at yet, but I do know that they have traveled. They were smart enough to bring food with them because they knew they were probably going to need it where they were going, but it was mostly gone. So it sounds like they are probably pretty hungry. So I'm going to think, let me change color here. I'm going to think about that a second with this question that I asked myself already. Why was their winter hard? Because their food was mostly gone. And that text tells me right here. Food was mostly gone. Okay, so that is my thought to answer this question. All right, let's move on to the next sentence and see if we can find out some more. They had hunted, but they were not good hunters. Well, why aren't they good hunters? Why not? Okay, let's see if we can figure that out. They knew how to farm. So these settlers must have come from a farming background. I know this because I'm thinking through this. They knew how to farm. Right there's my key word. They must have been farmers. They must have been somebody, wherever they were, wherever they traveled from, they knew how to farm. They had those skills. But they were not in an area where they needed to hunt. Okay, let's keep reading. They did not know how to follow animal tracks. Well, let's see. There's an answer to this question right there. Why were they not good hunters? Because they were trained to farm, and they didn't know how to follow animal tracks, which is vital in being able to hunt animals. Okay, so this strategy that I just talked with you about, again, is reading closely and marking up a text, okay? It's a close reading strategy that you use to help you determine the meaning of a text. It helps you to process through while you're working, okay? So again, I still need for you to finish reading your reading, and then I want you to be able to discuss it with a family member and post a reply about how marking up a text helps